Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us here at Bloomingdale's On Screen. We're streaming live from the Le Creuset shop in our 59th Street store. Tonight, we're going green in celebration of Earth Month and the launch of the new Le Creuset Artichoke collection at Bloomingdale's. We are here with Justin Chapple. He's a chef. He is the director at large of Food and Wine. He is a television host. He's also a cookbook author. Welcome, Justin.
Thank you. Hello, Kelley. And I just want to say I'm so excited to be here with you on Bloomingdale's On Screen. And I'm super thrilled to be spending some time with you and all of the viewers who are tuning in. Although I cannot see you, hello. We are clearly I'm not in the Le Creuset studio at Bloomingdale's with Kelley, but rather I am here at my home in the Catskill Mountains where it is finally starting to warm up outside. So welcome to my kitchen.
Thank you, Justin. Your kitchen is gorgeous. I know that one of your missions is to inspire others to cook more often and have fun doing it, but what inspired you to pursue a culinary career?
So I get asked this question quite a bit, as you can imagine. And like many chefs and like many cooks, it really started with my family. In particular, it was my grandma Barbara who, she not only got me sort of inspired to cook through the food that she made me or the food that we made together, but she actually really pushed educating me about food as a really important part of my childhood. So she would have me read cookbooks and she would, we'd watch Jacques Pepin and Julia Child together. And one of my favorite things that I remember when I was a kid was my grandma actually used to take me to live cooking demonstrations, much like this, whether it was at a mall or at a local food festival. And it just, it really kind of spawned this love for cooking.
That's cool. She sounds like a cool grandma. It's always interesting to hear how like a chef's passion and interests develop. So before we really get started tonight, I want to remind everyone that we want to hear from you. So drop your questions for Justin in the chat.
Yes, and please drop them in the chat. If Kelley can get them to me, I will do my best to answer them. But I think, Kelley, should we get started with the recipe?
Let's do it. I cannot wait.
Great. I'm so excited about this recipe. I created it just for this event, and we're going to be making my Roman goddess soup with frizzled artichokes. It sounds a little intriguing, I know. It's definitely inspired by this incredible new collection from Le Creuset, the Artichoke collection. It's rich and it's green. It's very floral. It feels like it's from the earth. And so I wanted to create a recipe, inspired by that.
It's really, really, really beautiful. I am so excited, but why is it called Roman goddess soup?
So as I was developing this recipe, obviously it was inspired by the beautiful new artichoke collection. But when I was creating it, I thought, okay, what can I make that's like really bright green and vibrant? And so I thought, what if I did a soup version of green goddess dressing, which is one of my favorite salad dressings of all time. But I really wanted to incorporate artichokes. And one of my favorite artichoke dishes in the entire world is Roman style artichokes, which are little baby artichokes that are deep fried and they're crispy and you serve them with a little dip. They're so good. And so those sort of two things I had in my mind. And then I remembered that the Roman goddess of agriculture and fertility and the earth is the Greek goddess Ceres. And so I thought to myself, rather than call this sort of a green goddess thing, why don't we just flat out name it after a Roman god?
I love that. My mouth is watering already just thinking about that, but I'm here with fake artichokes, so whatever.
Well, I wish I could hand you one of these baby artichokes through the screen.
I wish you could too.
And I think we should get started, but I'm so curious, have you ever cooked with artichokes?
No, and we actually have a poll because I want to know if our friends here tonight have ever cooked with artichokes. I haven't because I always thought they were intimidating, but I used to buy them all the time because I was a prop stylist and I just put them on my counter, but I never cooked with them.
Well, I think a lot of people are intimidated by them because they are beautiful, but they can be intimidating. And today we're going to be working with baby artichokes. So for everyone tuning in, If you are afraid of cooking artichokes, have no fear, because baby artichokes are so much easier to work with than the big ones that you would most commonly see.
Okay,
So
we're in good company. They want to know because the poll looks like we're all intimidated. So show us how to do it.
let's do it. So we're going to go ahead and get our soup going so it can kind of simmer away while we then talk about artichokes. So the first thing we're going to do is heat up our Le Creuset Dutch oven. This is a 5.5 quart Dutch oven, which would usually be enough for about 4 to 6 people. So if you have a much bigger family or you oftentimes cook bigger portions, I might suggest going up one size to the 7.25 quart. But this one is really great for me. I'm just a family of 2 here. But so we want to go ahead and get this over medium heat and add a 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil.
Okay.
Then to that, we are going to add our aromatics, which it's very common in any soup. You could see here I have some onions and some garlic. The onions are a little blown out there, but so this is 1 white onion that I thinly sliced, and then it's 4 garlic cloves. So we're going into the oil. You can hear a little sizzle, hopefully.
Nice. Oh, I have a funny comment from the audience. Someone accidentally bought grown-up artichokes.
Oh,
Like I guess
love
like
that.
adults instead of baby.
I love that. It's sort of funny because we were sort of joking about that before, because we were like, if you have baby artichokes, then what is a regular artichoke?
Right.
And so it's funny that you say that, because, you know, I've been developing recipes for a decade, really. I've developed thousands of recipes for Food and Wine magazine. And when working in the test kitchen there, we always joked, like, we have baby spinach, baby artichokes, baby arugula. And so what then do you call the full grown stuff? And so do you call it grown up? Do you call it adult? Who knows?
What do you call it? Do you call it regular?
I call it adult or grown up. So whoever tuning in wrote that comment, I appreciate you, and we are on the same page here.
Yeah, I never even thought about it.
So Kelley, to this, I'm adding a little bit of pepper, and then we're going to go ahead and add some salt, which is not only going to help sort of bring out all the flavors in the soup, but it's going to help soften our vegetables as we cook them.
Okay.
And we're cooking them over medium heat because we want to just get them softened and barely brown. And if I could spend 25 seconds on a little fun cooking tidbit I would love that.
Please do. I would love that. We would all love that.
So one of the things I love about the Le Creuset enameled cast iron is that the heat conductivity is incredible. So you're going to get really even heat, which helps you sort of get, in the cooking world, what we call fond, F-O-N-D. And that refers to all the little brown bits that sort of stick to the bottom of the pan. And those brown bits add tons and tons of flavor to soups and stews and stir fries or whatever it is that you're cooking, sauces. But in this case, I actually don't want a lot of fond. That's going to be the vocabulary word at the end of the demo today.
Oh yeah, there's a pop quiz at the end, guys.
Yep. So I hope everyone's taking notes.
Yeah.
But one of the things I love about the Le Creuset enamel cast iron, and I'm actually going to hold up this lid to show you, because I think a lot of people don't realize this. You see, this is a very unique sand color that is unique to the Le Creuset collection. All of the Le Creuset cookware, and it's not just there for aesthetic purposes. It actually serves a solid purpose when you're cooking. And what that does is that because it's a light color and it's not super dark, you can actually see how much color your food is getting in the pan.
Oh,
and so
I never even thought about that.
Yeah, and that's actually very important, because if you get too much color and your food starts to burn, you're going to add a bunch of bitter flavor that can be really unpleasing and unappealing in a recipe. Or in this case, we're really just trying to prevent a lot of browning, because we want to maintain a really vibrant, beautiful green soup. So I'm just gonna, I know it's sort of hard for everyone to see, but if you can, you'll see I have a tiny bit of browning in the bottom of the pan, but not too much. And like I said, if you had a Dutch oven that had a really dark interior, it'd be much harder to see that. And also,
can we talk about this great green though? The exterior is gorgeous.
It's so gorgeous. And if you look, this was when I added all my onions and garlic to the plate. I mean, we
So
have the
pretty.
artichoke plate. It is so beautiful. It's got sort of that ombre color to it. It's so gorgeous.
It's like fashion for your kitchen.
And as you can see, I have like, my kitchen is very white, so it needs as much fashion as possible.
What? Your kitchen is so beautiful. I'm coming to hang out in your kitchen.
I said, everyone is welcome. I don't know how many people are tuning in, but you're all welcome. I'm crossing my finger behind my back here.
Yeah, we're going to Justin's kitchen next. 2 weeks, guys.
2 weeks. Big party up at Justin's. Okay, so this is softening nicely. So next up, we're gonna need to add some liquid because every soup needs a liquid, right? And in this case, I have here the signature saucepan, and I'm using a little TV magic right now. You can see the steam.
Oh,
That was not the magic part, but
because I thought I was going to be able to smell it through. I thought that was going to be the magic part, like
Just a
smelling
little
it through the screen.
smell a zoom. Should we pitch that to them?
Let's pitch it. We want to get paid from that.
Yes. So actually, the reason I have, so this is 1 quart of vegetable broth. And the reason I have it nice and hot is just because, like I said, like movie magic here, I don't want to waste everyone's time. So I want this to come to a boil really quickly. If you are making this at home, and I hope you do because I love this recipe so much. For everyone watching, if you make this at home, you do not need to preheat your broth. Just go ahead and measure it right into your Dutch oven and you are good to go. Let me move this back over here. Okay, so this is, look at that. You can't really see it, but it's already, you can see the steam here coming off. It's already brought to a simmer, which means we are ready to add our first ingredient, our main ingredient, excuse me, to the soup, which is, let's see if we can guess what it is. Kelley, can you guess?
That is broccoli. That's like the most perfectly cut broccoli I've ever seen in my life. I don't think you should cook it. That. Just save it. Take a picture of it.
I appreciate that. So this is 1 pound of broccoli. And what I did was I finely chopped the crowns. The crowns are the top part, you know, the florets, if you will.
Oh, I used to just call them the tree part. I'm sophisticated, guys. I just would be like, I'm just gonna take the trees.
This is the tree part of the broccoli. Yeah. So we went ahead and finely chopped these, and then I peeled the stems and thinly sliced those just so that they would cook evenly, because the stems, believe it or not, have tons and tons of flavor. Okay.
Okay, so you should not discard the stems.
You should not discard the stems. And you know, to that point, I mean, we're celebrating Earth Month, right? And so we should all be trying to waste as little as possible. So eat those stems. I know that's been a long time argument is, are you a broccoli stem eater or are you not? We should have done that. We should have did that as a poll.
That's the poll. That's what the people want to know. Do you eat the stems or not?
Do you eat the stems or do you not? Let us know in the chat.
Yeah, let us know.
Okay. So I went ahead and this is brought to a boil, and I'm going to go ahead and cover it. And we're going to cook this until the broccoli is soft. It's going to be about 10 minutes. Actually, before I cover it, I do want to add a little more salt here, because we want to make sure that we're seasoning at every layer. And that's really just an important part of cooking.
Why do you do that?
So the reason that you would want to do that is so that every ingredient you add is getting sort of the correct amount of salt it needs to enhance its flavor. And it's a lot easier to do it that way and season in layers than it is to add a bunch of salt at the beginning and then add a bunch of salt at the end, because then it's like a little bit of a guess as to how much salt you need. Whereas in this case, if you just do a little bit every time you add another ingredient, just a little bit, you don't need to add a lot.
That's a really good tip.
And, you know, fun fact, because I did have this is a salt mill. I think everyone watching saw me put this in, and not to confuse everyone, I'm not adding tons of pepper every single time I add an ingredient. This is, in fact, a salt mill. And I do have a fun fact about salt mills.
Oh, do share. We want to know.
Because I think a lot of people are confused about the difference between a salt mill and a pepper mill. And I'm going to show you actually up close. This is the This is actually a part of the collection, this one here. But you could see, do you see how the disc is white in there?
Yeah. Yep.
So for everyone tuning in, I want you to go check if you have a salt mill and see if it has a white disc or a metal disc. If it has a metal disc, then that's a carbon steel grinding plate, and you should not be using that for salt. You should only be using one that has a ceramic grinding plate, because the salt actually corrodes the steel.
Oh, I should probably go home and like check that, because I have no idea what I've been doing in life before this moment.
So that is your homework, Kelley, okay?
Okay, I'm going to report back.
All right, so should we move on? This is going to simmer away until it's ready to go. Should we move on to the star of the show here?
Let's do it.
Okay, we are going to be talking about artichokes, and I'm going to show you these beautiful baby artichokes here. Look at these.
They're so pretty.
They're
so
so
beautiful.
gorgeous, and they're tiny too. And one thing I want to point out, which I don't think a lot of people realize, is, you know, at the bottom of these artichokes here, I mean, look at how small this is when I hold it up to the camera here. Look at how tiny it is.
Yeah, it's like a little Brussels sprout, but better looking.
Yes. A prettier Brussels sprout, the more sophisticated, luxurious cousin.
The elegant.
The elegant. So all of this on the bottom here, that's actually not brown, that's purple. And it's so beautiful. And I don't know if you notice on the beautiful artichoke collection, how it sort of is, it's not really ombre, but it's a little ombre.
I know, I see it. It's so gorgeous.
So, okay, so let's work with baby artichokes here. And of course, I had these displayed on the gorgeous serving platter. I always recommend having a big, dark, luxurious, beautiful serving platter like this, because a color like this really allows the food to pop and shine. And it really doesn't matter what food it is, it's going to look gorgeous. But I actually love, one of my favorite entertaining hacks is to make a big crudité platter, but I pick all vegetables that are all one color. So I'll do like all green.
Oh, chic.
It's very chic, very beautiful.
I'm going to do that. Can you tell me the difference between a baby artichoke and a grown-up artichoke? Did we talk about that already? Because I'm dying
We
to
did
know.
not. We did not, but surprise, I have a giant artichoke. So this is actually a good teaching moment, because really the difference is one is a baby and one is a grown-up artichoke, right?
Okay,
but here's the significant part. So here's the difference. Do you see the center of the artichoke, how it's super dark and it's got that purple center?
Yep.
So, and you see how the baby one does not have that same center there?
Yep.
So that purple is actually called the choke. And when you're cooking with adult or grown-up artichokes, you actually have to remove that before you consume it, because it can get stuck and literally choke you.
Wait, really? I had no idea. I've been eating artichokes this entire time, not knowing anything.
Yeah, so the little inner pokies, I like to call them, you do not want to eat those. Okay. So they're a little bit different. I grew up in California, where we ate full-grown artichokes like this, just steamed. You peel off the leaves, you scrape them between your teeth, and they're super delicious. But baby artichokes, you can eat. I grew up in New
Jersey, so we never did that.
It's funny, because when I moved to the East Coast, I realized on the East Coast, it's all about artichoke hearts as opposed to whole artichokes like we grew up eating in California. So, so let me show you really quick how to break one of these down. At this point, we're gonna make our frizzled artichokes, which is gonna be our topping for our soup. And so basically what you would do is you start by peeling off sort of these outer tough layers of leaves. And I'm just gonna do one of these, as you could see here, or if you were tuning in before we went live, everyone, I have some prepped here, so we're not gonna spend all day cutting artichokes. But you peel off these sort of outer layers, which you can save and steam them and sort of eat them the same way you would eat a grown-up artichoke. But then what you're gonna do is you're gonna actually peel the stem. I like to use a little Y peeler here and just peel off the stem, just like that. And I apologize to everyone that we're not getting close-ups of this, but I promise one day I will do a close-up video, and maybe Kelley will join me and we'll show you how to prep an artichoke.
I would love that. Is it a big deal if you have full-grown artichokes instead for this recipe today?
So if you would like to do this with full-grown artichokes, that is a really great question. I don't know if it's yours or somebody tuning in, but it's a wonderful question.
One of
So
our friends in the audience.
I love that. So if you want to use full-grown or adult artichokes for this, what you need to do is you need to basically prep this so that all you are left with is the artichoke heart. And then you thinly slice the artichoke heart, and then you can fry that, much like we're going to fry the baby artichokes. But this is one of the reasons I love the baby artichokes, is you can eat the whole thing, and it's so great. So we peeled off the outer layers, we peeled the stem. You cut off about 1/2 inch at the top because that's where it has the little thorns. And then all you do is you thinly slice it. And you can use a knife. I'm actually using a beautiful Le Creuset German style chef's knife. It's one of my favorites. It's got a gorgeous wood handle. You can use a knife. I'm comfortable using a knife, and you can go fat as slow as you want here. You don't need to feel intimidated. I tell people all the time when they ask me about cooking and how they might not be as fast as somebody like me, and I tell them, I say, you know what? You should do not rush. If a recipe tells you it takes 30 minutes and you feel like you cannot accomplish that in 30 minutes, do not overthink it. Just cook it. That's my slogan. And just go, do the best you can. And the same is true. So this is might look like a big knife for a lot of people. And some people think that they need to have a big chef's knife in order to, cook like a professional, but that's not true. You should use any size knife that you are comfortable holding.
What knife is that you're using?
So this is the Le Creuset. It's a German style chef's knife. I believe it's an olive wood handle here. It's great. It has a nice thin blade and super duper sharp. And I'm just using it to thinly slice these. But of course, if you have a French mandolin and you would like to use it, that would work really well here.
Okay. I have another question from our friends in the audience. Where's the best place to buy baby artichokes?
Dude, look at how thin these are. Pretty.
Yeah.
So baby artichokes, I will admit, can be a little tricky to find. But the good news is this is like the beginning of artichoke season. So you're going to start seeing more and more. You're going to start seeing really fresh, delicious artichokes. And what I would say is try any gourmet store that's near you would possibly have them. And they might not be in the same spot as, say, the globe artichokes, the big ones. So you might just want to ask. But if you cannot find them at your local store, you can definitely get them online. So that's no problem at all. I actually have quite a bit
trick
here.
You're doing?
Oh, that is a trick I should have pointed out. Let me just turn my heat up here because we got to fry. So what I like to do, so we're frying. So here, this is the Le Creuset brazier. I believe this is the I think it's 2.5 quarts. It might be a little bit more, a little bit less. It's the brazier, it's the signature brazier. It's from the Artichoke collection. So it's got the gorgeous, beautiful color. And this is one of my favorite pans to fry in. And there's a couple reasons for that. Ooh, broccoli's simmering away. So one of the things I love about this is because it has sort of the short sides. I mean, it's obviously, it's like much deeper than a skillet, but it's much shorter than a Dutch oven. So it's great for shallow frying. Really, really great. And also, you asked me about my fun little trick and I went on a tangent.
Oh yeah,
here.
that tip, yes, that I've never seen before.
So in my brazier, I have 1 inch of canola oil. And one of my tricks for knowing if it's hot enough is you take a wooden spoon. And some of the people tuning in, you know who you are familiar with this trick, but you just dip it right into the bottom. And if little bubbles start to form around the bottom of your wooden spoon or utensil, then you know your oil is hot.
Oh, I think you just changed my life with that one. Thank you.
So it sort of takes the guesswork out if you're not using a thermometer. And like I said, enameled cast iron is one of my favorite types of cookware to fry in because the believe it or not, if you use something like stainless, you can heat your oil too much too quickly. And then in addition to that, when you add cold ingredients to your hot oil, it can actually drop the temperature way too fast. Whereas when you're working with the cast iron, in the enameled cast iron, it actually retains the heat really, really well. So you're gonna get a nice sort of gentle temperature in the oil. You're gonna be able to control it so much better, which is why a lot of times what recipes for frying, they actually call for a heavy bottom pot.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. And I'm just like, I'm just gonna use this pot.
Yeah,
No, sometimes it's like Creuset, sometimes it's not.
so that is why you want a heavy bottom pot when you're frying, because then the oil temperature is easier to control. So I'm just gonna add some of these to our hot oil here, and we're gonna let these fry. I'm gonna wanna
How
do
long
not,
are they gonna fry?
so these are gonna fry for about 5 minutes, maybe even a little bit less. It's sort of, you have to sort of go with the flow when you're frying. And we're just looking to get them browned and crisp. And they're gonna shrink a lot because artichokes have a lot of moisture. They don't have like tons and tons of moisture, but they have enough moisture that when you fry them, they sort of shrink down a little bit.
Like spinach, you know, spinach is like the biggest shrinker on the planet.
Spinach is literally the biggest shrinker on the planet. I will agree with you there. And I wish I could bring this camera over this so that you could see how pretty this is, because it's
I'm like
sizzling away.
because I'm like trying to get there.
I'm actually going to move these over here because I have a little bit extra. I'm going to fry these after class, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to fry the rest of these. But I'm just going to do one batch for the sake of the demonstration so that everyone sees how amazing this is. One thing I did want to say about artichokes is when you're working with them, they oxidize really, really quickly. So if you peel them or you cut them, they're going to turn brown in just minutes, really. So one thing that you want to do, so you might see here where I have a lemon. So if you cut them in advance, what you want to do is you want to rub them with lemon, or you want to put them into what we call acidulated water, which is water with lemon juice.
And how far in advance can you cut them?
That's a tricky thing. If you're going to braise them, or if you're going to cook them for a really long time where the color doesn't matter, you can cut them a little far. You can cut them maybe a couple hours in advance. Of course, keep them in acidulated water. But if you don't plan to, if you want to keep them their color really beautiful and vibrant, you're going to want to try to prep them right before you cook them, which is why for everyone tuning in, that might be why you saw me sort of cutting artichokes right before we went live.
Okay, while the artichokes are cooking, I am going to take some questions from our friends in the audience.
Wonderful, let's do it.
Okay, this is a really good question because I love a dip. Okay, what is a good dip to use when eating artichokes on their own?
Ooh, okay. So hands down, it's gotta be an aioli. So that's sort of a garlicky, delicious mayonnaise, like lemony, it's a little garlicky. That is how I eat artichokes. And you don't have to make it from scratch, although if you can, that's great. But what I like to do is I just take some mayonnaise, I add some lemon juice, I add some salt and pepper, I add some garlic finely grated on a rasp grater, and it is just so delicious.
Okay, I would like that. I have another question.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on jarred artichokes?
On jarred?
Jarred, yeah.
Jarred, I love them.
Okay.
So whoever asked that question, I bow down to you, because I actually love jarred marinated artichokes. I actually have 2 jars in my pantry as we speak. I use them all the time. And one thing that I love about them is I don't just use the actual artichoke heart. I also use the brine. So they're packed in like a flavorful brine. And I use that brine, I add it to soups, I add it to stews, I add it to dips, I add it to salad dressings. It's sort of a great no waste way of using up that brine.
And that's nice because you can just have them on hand. What oil do you prefer to cook with?
So we're actually frying with canola oil. You can also use vegetable oil, but whenever you're frying, you don't want to use anything like olive oil. And the reason is because olive oil has a low smoke point. So if you bring it to a high temperature in order to fry, it will actually start smoking and it will sort of look like it's about to combust and it might scare you. But so something like vegetable oil, canola oil, corn oil, avocado oil, they all have a really high smoke point, so they're great for frying. But as everyone can see, when we first started, I used olive oil in the soup because I didn't need to have a high temperature, and olive oil has just a really wonderful flavor.
Can you freeze this soup after you cook it?
So that's actually a great question because I have not tried it, but my guess is yes, you can probably freeze this soup. One of the things, if you plan to freeze it, I would recommend is chilling the soup as quickly as you can. So maybe put it into containers and then pop those into an ice bath to bring the temperature down, just because you want to preserve the beautiful green color that we're going to get. And these are almost done.
Yeah, how are they doing? I wish I could
They're doing great.
Really see them and actually eat them.
Can you hear them? Can everyone hear the sizzly?
I can hear the sizzle.
I'm like doing this, and my worst fear is that my AirPod is gonna fly into the front.
I can't even talk about AirPods. No one wants to hear about my AirPod story that I've been crying about for the past week, so I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not ready.
I love a good AirPod story. Okay, I'm gonna actually, these are ready, so I'm gonna turn off the heat. And I hope everyone is still with us here. And I'm just gonna lift up some of these so that you can see. Look at that.
Oh,
I mean, it's sort of hard to see. So I have a Le Creuset baking sheet here with some paper towels. This is what we're gonna use to drain our artichokes. I'm gonna sort of scatter them around. And once I get them all out, I'm gonna bring them over so you can all see how gorgeous these look. And in the meantime, I don't know, do we have any more questions about artichokes?
Yes, talk to us, tell us. Tell us what you feel about artichokes. Or if you have any AirPod stories, or what are you eating?
Oh my gosh, I have too many AirPod stories. All right, I'm gonna, one thing I like to do is whenever I'm using fryer oil, once I turn it off, I cover it because it prevents the kitchen from taking on that beautiful aroma of hot oil.
Oh yeah.
So look at these gorgeous.
Oh, those are gorgeous.
They're all like sort of like, I'm gonna try to hold one up here so you could see it. It's like crispy and frizzly. You see that?
Oh yeah. Yep.
It's so beautiful and
so
sort of
no, go ahead. Sorry. Oh, those are gorgeous. Someone in our audience is actually at the Apple store in Grand Central getting their AirPods fixed. Okay, after this, I'm going to start an AirPod support group. So you just follow me on Instagram. And
I love that idea. That is such a great idea. Okay, all right, so we're gonna finish these off and then we're gonna move on to finish our soup and we're almost there. So, this is obviously our frizzled artichokes. Right away, when they're still hot, you're gonna wanna season them with some salt. So they have a lot of flavor because obviously you don't add salt to the oil. Then we're gonna add a little fresh, finely grated lemon zest right on top. I'm just gonna add a little bit because I only fried half the artichokes here.
Oh, and then you use charred? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
Oh, one of our friends in the audience wants to know if you could use charred artichokes in this particular recipe.
So that's a great question. I'm glad you asked. No, you cannot. Thank you for asking because I didn't want anyone to go home and attempt to make this with jarred artichokes. They are too wet.
We just saved them.
Moist.
Yes.
Yes. So we might have just saved you a little bit. Okay. So while we were talking, I added some freshly chopped parsley to this as well. And really what this is inspired by Italian Gremolata. Have you ever had that?
What is Gremolata? I think I know what it is, but
so Gremolata is it's kind of like a condiment. It's a classic Italian condiment that is made with fresh parsley, fresh lemon zest, and you would normally sprinkle it on top of really rich dishes. It's traditionally served on top of ossobuco. I'm sure tons of people who are tuning in are familiar with ossobuco, and that's usually what's sprinkled on top. So I sort of got inspired by that to make this amazing little topping we have here.
Mm,
Gorgeous, right?
that is so pretty. And I love it
obviously
on the
this-
artichoke plates.
Oh yeah, and it's so fitting, right?
Yes, which I have with me too. I don't have the food, guys, but I do have this plate, which
I
I
love
can't
it.
eat, but I do love it. It's very beautiful.
And I have two of them, and one of the reasons I loved that I have two of them is because one of my little entertaining hacks is, rather than putting one giant, I'll put one giant platter of something in the center of the table, and then a lot of the garnishes or the side dishes I like to put on smaller ones, and then just sort of put them on either end of the table. That way they're easier to share.
Of course,
And-
you have all the style hacks because you're a fellow magazine editor like myself.
I know, and we spend all of our work hours figuring stuff like this out, right?
Yes.
Okay, we are ready to move on. We're gonna blend our soup and finish it up here.
Okay.
So I've got my blender, brought my blender over here. What we need to do though first is we need to get this oil out of the way, and then we need to bring over our Dutch oven. So I've got my,
Oh,
you can't hear them,
are those
but
silicone?
these are my little silicone handle grips, but check that out. They fit right on.
Oh, I need those.
They're so great. I love
I'm
them. I'm
gonna buy
obsessed
those.
with them. I'm literally so obsessed with them. I can't even tell you, because they fit right onto the handles and they're so much easier to use than those big square silicone things.
I know. They're so
love 'em.
cumbersome, the big ones.
Yeah,
I
and
love
they
those.
they stay on the Le Creuset cookware while the lid is on, which is another thing that I love here. Ooh,
Oh, the steam. I wish I
The
could smell it
steam.
again.
all right. Okay, so I've got my little ladle here, and we're gonna go ahead and blend the soup. So I just need to get all the soup in here, and then we're gonna add some other ingredients. So I don't know, what should we talk
Okay.
about? Do we have any questions
Well, we
from the
did
audience?
learn that our friends in the audience eat their broccoli stems. I guess I'm the only one who needs to grow up. Okay, guys. You sent a message. If you have
I
any more
forgive you.
questions,
I think you're.
Thank you.
I do not judge anyone.
Thank you,
And what-
Justin.
And you know what's funny is, a lot of times when you go to the store now, they actually sell broccoli stems separately.
I do not understand that at all. The store should stop doing that.
Well, they
I would
sell them.
advise against that.
They sell them shredded. Actually, they're shredded because they're great for making coleslaw.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. All right. I'm
Yeah,
open.
cool.
I'm open now. You've changed
I'm
me.
just gonna pour the rest
Um,
of this in here.
Do you have any
All right.
tips for making an easy aioli?
Well, yes, the easiest aioli is a cheater aioli, which I would make by just mixing things into mayonnaise, full fat mayonnaise. You're gonna mix in some finely grated garlic. You're gonna add a little lemon juice, some salt and pepper, and it will not taste like mayonnaise. It will taste like aioli.
Okay.
So,
cool.
but if you would like to make homemade aioli, if you have an immersion blender, I'm sure you guys sell a lot of immersion blenders at
We
Bloomingdale's.
do.
They immersion blenders that have the cup, you can actually crack your egg, put your oil, salt, all the ingredients in there, and puree it with an immersion blender, and it comes together in less than a minute. It's wild.
Oh, cool. Speaking
amazing.
of immersion blender, one of our friends wants to know if you can use one for this soup.
So you can for this soup, if you would like to, but here's the thing. We're adding a bunch of other ingredients here. We're adding spinach. You could see I added, there's about 2.5 ounces of baby spinach. So this is a really healthy, amazing soup for Earth Month. And then we have, oh, I'm gonna need this again. But then we're gonna also be adding some fresh scallion and then some fresh herbs here. I have some basil leaves and some parsley leaves. If you've ever had green goddess dressing, these are the common,
Mm-hmm.
these are very common ingredients to add to green goddess dressing. And so we're incorporating them into this recipe. So it's sometimes a little hard to use an immersion blender when you're incorporating some fresh ingredients like chopped scallions, which you can see here. That
Mm-hmm.
said, you just need to chop up all of these ingredients a little smaller.
Okay,
So
so
I'm going to put my lid
you
on this
can do it.
and I'm gonna warn you, I'm gonna blend, so it's gonna be just a second, but this is a fast blender. So so again, we have our soup base in here, and then we added some spinach. And then what I'm doing is I'm just taking off the little cap that's on top, because whenever you're blending something hot, you want to allow the steam to escape,
Oh,
because that's
okay.
how, if you've ever blended something hot, it can sort of explode in the blender, and it's very tricky. So I recommend doing it in batches,
Mm-hmm.
and then also sort of removing the little top here. And I put a towel on it, and then I'm just going to stop talking for 1 second.
Okay. Well, I have another question. You just answer it when you get a chance after you're done blending. Can you use sour cream or yogurt instead of mayo for aioli? We're really into aioli tonight.
I
I
know
love it
everyone
too.
is loving this aioli. So yes, you can definitely. Let me do this one more time. Okay. Now I'm
Okay.
going to add
1 second.
I'm going to add the rest of our herbs here. So we've got some basil leaves and some parsley leaves, and you can already see this gorgeous green color here. So beautiful. But yes,
That
so
is
if you're making
beautiful.
an aioli, and you want to do it without mayonnaise, because I realize people oftentimes do not like mayonnaise, or they're just trying to be a little bit healthier, you can definitely make a cheater aioli with yogurt if you'd like. You can even use a vegan yogurt if you want to go super plant-based.
Okay, that's good to
All right.
know. Can you hear me? Oh, you can. Okay. I'm not sure. I can't hear
Sorry,
your
well, it's
blender.
very loud. It's very loud.
Oh, see, I
And
can't hear your
but that's
blender.
it. We're done.
Oh,
Oh, you
cool.
can't hear the blender. Okay. Well,
I
okay, so we're
couldn't.
done here. So you could actually serve this right from, I'm gonna put this lid over here so it doesn't spill. You can actually serve this right from the blender if you'd like, or you can reheat it in your pot, but we need to add a little bit of lemon juice to this. So I'm gonna go
I
ahead and pour that
love
in.
that color.
Isn't it so gorgeous? I don't know why I
Mhm.
didn't do a little
I
close up of
love that
that
it
there.
matches the new Artichoke collection from Lake Creuset. It's so beautiful. I'm going
It's
to
so
buy this
beautiful.
and then I'm going to make the soup
So we need a
because I
little bit of
do a
fresh
lot of
lemon
things
juice in
based
there.
on aesthetic.
And then I have my serving bowl here. So I'm gonna serve this up so that we can move on with this demonstration and let everyone be on their way. But let me just spoon some of this in here, because then you're gonna be able to really see this gorgeous, oh my gosh, look at this. And normally I would season this first. So please do not tell any of my chef friends that I did not season this before I'm plating it. I'm just trying to save a little bit of time.
Oh, I already posted
Then,
it to Instagram that you didn't
oh
season it.
gosh. I knew it. I knew someone was going to. Someone's screen grabbing this, and then they're gonna share
Yeah,
it with the world.
exactly. It's
So
viral
I like to
already.
put our little frizzled artichokes on top. Oh my goodness. This is what happens when you do live classes, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so this is a half a cup of yogurt that needed to be pureed into the soup. So,
I told you it was
okay,
going to be
forgive me.
dramatic.
I know, it's like, it's
It's
all the
live.
dramatics here. Normally you would blend that, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm just gonna go ahead and stir it in here when we finish up. And then what I like to do is just finish it with a little more olive oil. Sorry, a little bit of pepper. And then check out, I'm gonna bring it over to you, Kelley. Look at this gorgeous soup.
Oh, that looks so good. I wish you could pass it through the screen, or I wish I would have made it myself and then we could have acted like you passed it. That would have been
I
TV
know, we
magic,
should
but
have.
I love that. That
Next
looks
time
beautiful.
next time we'll plan accordingly to where I sort of go like this.
Right, exactly. And I'm like, yeah,
And then you
exactly.
hand it, yeah. Note for next time.
I love
And then
that.
that is the Roman goddess soup with frizzled artichokes.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Justin. That was amazing. Thank you for joining us. Thank you everyone for joining us. Don't forget that all the products featured during tonight's event is available at Bloomingdale stores and bloomingdales.com. We also have an exclusive in-store offer from Le Creuset for our viewers tuning in tonight. So visit your local Bloomingdale's or shop with your preferred sales professional and receive an artichoke plate with every purchase of 150. I can't speak because I'm so hungry because of that artichoke. So you will, if you make a purchase of $150 or more, you will receive, let me get rid of these fake artichokes, this gorgeous plate. And for those of you who are inspired to, keep an eye out for the post-event email, including a shoppable lookbook and tonight's Roman goddess soup frizzled with artichokes recipe that Justin developed because he's amazing. And thank you all again for joining us with Bloomingdale's On Screen.